You'd rather call him Big Honey.
Big Honey.
All right, we welcome you back to Studio J here in Atlanta. You talk about your Game 1 stunner. The Philadelphia 76ers, without Joel Embiid, win in Boston, 119-115 behind James Harden, who scored 45, matching his career playoff high, punctuated by this with under 20 seconds to go.
They got the switch they wanted right there.
Ernie, we talk about this every week, how easy it is to play in the NBA today. With all this switching going on, it's ridiculous how easy it is to score in the NBA today. A big man cannot guard a guard if he got any talent whatsoever.
Harden, 7 out of 14 from deep, 17 for 30 on the night, 45 points, 6 assists. And the Sixers take Game 1, 119-115. Jason Tatum had 39 for the Celtics in that loss. Jaylen Brown had 23, had 14 of those in the first quarter. He only took 3 shots in the last 3 quarters. He was 6 out of 7 in the first, finished 8 out of 10. And Boston
That's funny, Jay.
4.
Well, in fairness, Jay Vegas, if you're going to dress like that, you better have that type of game.
And he had that type of game, man. How stunned are you, Shaq? Because here were your pregame Sixers points for success. 35 for James. He got that for you, and then some. 25-ish for Tyrese Maxey. He had 26. 20-ish for Tobias Harris. He had 18.
Yeah, but it also.
Dr. O'Neal.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well, you know, not bad for a guy that has 4 championships. I do know what I'm talking about some of the time, but I knew after watching the great Steph Curry last night, I knew that James was going to have a big game because their big guys out. He's a number 2 option. I knew he was going to have a big game. Was only asking for 35, but he gave me 45. And the other 2, they stepped up. They play well. But this isn't about Billy. This is about the lack of focus with Boston. I said at halftime on today's episode of When You Mess Around, this is what happens. There's no way without Joel Embiid you're supposed to lose to this team ever. Ever.
In a playoff.
They was messing around. They let James get going. They kept it close. What worries me is when you're a road team and you stay close, anything can happen in the fourth quarter. Like when I was watching the Sacramento game last night, I was like, you know what? Sacramento's playing pretty good, but Golden State's a little too close for me. And in that third quarter, you know, we all know what happens. Steph Curry goes crazy, but this is about Boston. You know, lack of focus, and hopefully this doesn't bite them. Now, all the stuff we talked about earlier, Joe can get a couple more days of rest. And
Joe's not playing next game.
Yeah.
And, you know,
no, not at all.
If he played him, that'd be stupid. It's interesting. You could tell. We talked about at halftime. Celtics didn't learn their lesson. You look at this here, man. They had 10 fouls for the whole game and shot 60%. That tells you 2 things. If you shoot 60%, you should win going away. But if you only commit 10 fouls in a game, you ain't playing no defense whatsoever. They were lackadaisical, and like I say, the other NBA players can play also, Ernie, and they messed around. Harden made all the big shots, but you got to respect your opponents.
You know, Shaq said they needed 80 points from 3 guys. I didn't know if James would be the big leader in that. They got 89 points from those 3 guys. But what we saw in the second half was a perimeter Boston Celtic team. Perimeter versus perimeter, they're better. First half, they were much more interior. So tough loss for the Boston Celtics, great win for Philly.
And let us not forget what Joel Embiid's replacement in this game, Paul Reed. B-ball Paul, 4 big free throws down the stretch. Philly takes Game 1. Now let's go to Denver.